Hit me with the guitars. There they are. Ah, yeah. It's the Capital City Podcast. I'm your host, Capital J, alongside my main man,
DL Glass.
And tonight, we're talking about the history of explicit lyrics. Yeah. We always talk about hip hop, and we start at the beginning. But anybody who's been listening to hip hop for the past 15 years or so, you say, what do you mean the history of explicit lyrics? Hip hop is explicit. No, not always. It wasn't always like that. You know what I mean? At one time, record labels used to be scared of hip hop that sounded too dangerous or too sexually charged or had too many curse words. And those people lived on independent labels. You had I think take somebody like Curtis Blow. He was signed to a major label. He was signed to Mercury Records. It was a big deal back in the day. Even the Sugar Hill Gang was an independent label, Sugar Hill Records.
Right.
But Mercury was huge. And there were things that Curtis Blow wasn't going to do, and for the most part, Sugar Hill Records wasn't going to give you too much questionable content either.
Right.
But you fast forward a few years, like that's what, 80, 81, 82, we're moving through that time period. But there was an independent label down in Florida. Yeah, everybody thinks I'm going to say Skywalker Records.
No.
No, I'm talking about this cat named Blowfly.
I can almost guarantee he had something to do with Slip and Slide.
Blowfly. Okay. I'm going to find out what label he was on real quick. Okay. Blowfly, Blowfly was an explicit adult rapper back in the day. TK Records. TK Records was an independent record label down in Florida. They had Jimmy Bohorn. Let's do it. Let's dance. Let's dance. Casey and the Sunshine Band. Shake your booty. Shake your booty. All that stuff. So they were making some hits.
Okay.
Out of Florida. They had a sound. But Blowfly found himself on that label. And he had songs like That's What Your Pussy's Made For. Back in like 1980, 81, 82, he was, dirty rap. That was the name of one of his songs called Dirty Rap,
Right. And
his thing was straight shock value, but it played like a novelty record. It didn't seem serious. So when you listen to it, it's almost like, wait for the kids to go to sleep and you pull out the Blowfly record.
Right.
So I don't remember anybody rocking Blowfly joints at the party. But that was the first rapper that I remember that was just as the content was just as explicit as anything now.
Right.
So what you hear is nothing new. It's not a new phenomenon. It's just new that this is the only thing out. But he was always talking about, prostitutes and sex, drugs.
I think you said it all when he said, this is what you pussy.
Right. A whole song.
And all.
And yeah, all his songs
7 minutes.
It was 7 minutes.
7 minutes.
7 minutes long. Straight Blowfly being dirty.
Yes, sir.
And and then you fast forward a few years, it's no wonder that Luke Skywalker is coming out of Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the home
right
of the original explicit lyrics. and I mean explicit lyrics on wax. So all you New Yorkers who happen to have seen a live show where dudes were really getting it in, they didn't put that on wax.
Right.
They cleaned up their raps and said things a little bit differently. But Blowfly gave it to you exactly the way you talk on the street. And that was different for the time.
Right.
And, whenever we look at how things are now, you can always point back to some pioneers in that particular genre, you know. So tonight we're just gonna talk about the people who pioneered the style of music that we listen to today. And some of these people might shock you.
It's crazy when you think about, like you said, New York had, you know, they probably had their version of it. And then by the time you got all the way south to Florida, it's like raw.
Right.
And the perception is the further you get away from the north to the south, through the south, at the end of the south, the slower, the more uneducated people reside. And if you go from almost a conservative approach to it in
the larger urban areas,
right, the northeastern, you know, and then you go down southeast.
This is what happens. You let them country folks do their own thing and come out with all this cussing.
It's kind of like what we saw in hip hop, though. You know, just in general, not just the explicit side of it, but you know, like the bars compared to the bars of the South, or like Pimp C says, Southern rap hymns.
Hymns,
you know,
right?
Not bars.
But you know, this phenomenon was not strictly limited to the South, because the West Coast took it too,
which has a North and a South too.
Right. Now on the timeline, like we talking the early '80s with Blowfly, but by 1986, you could look around the whole country
and see it,
and you saw the growth of explicit lyrics. Yeah, you know, like New York. Had KRS-One. And a lot of people say, KRS-One, he's so woke. Go back and listen to Criminal Minded. I had never heard I didn't even know what a 9mm was. That's honest to God.
Right.
I didn't. I knew, you know,
was in what,
only thing I knew about guns, you got pistols and rifles. You know, take rifles hunting and you shoot people with pistols. Right. That was my image in my mind of guns. And you got shotguns. That's what old people use to get you off the block. Go on, get out of my yard.
Right. He got a shotgun.
He got a shotgun. Right.
Those are the two. You stupid.
Hey, am I lying? In the country, old man shotgun front porch. I seen it a million times.
Yeah, it probably won't just the country, but I guess in the city you had gun store.
You definitely did. Yeah. I was just watching a documentary on Muggsy Bogues, who grew up in Baltimore. Muggsy Bogues is older than me. Yeah. He got shot when he was 5 years old by an old man who came out the house and some dudes were fighting.
They shot
somebody
him
threw a rock through his window. He done came outside and everybody took off running except for Muggsy Bogues, the basketball player, and his sister. And he shot them two kids with a shotgun.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
not
old man,
AR-15.
No, but if it had been, they'd be dead. He got peppered. He got peppered up nicely.
Back then, we didn't know that, you know.
He got peppered up with the buckshot.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing about a shotgun back. For those of you unfamiliar with being peppered up by a shotgun, when you, like, you know, a shotgun was a good deterrent back in the day, because unless they're shooting you like right in the face from up close, you're probably not gonna die. So you know, you got a shotgun and they see you across the street a block away, they'll shoot you in a bunch of little pellets, just pepper you up quite nicely. But you get you get on about your business and you never bother that person again. But you're not dead.
Right.
It don't tear your arm off or none of that. You know? But you gotta be close range to blow something up with birdshot.
Yeah.
And they load these things up with birdshot back in the day. But back to the story, KRS came out talking about, and not just a pistol.
Right.
He's talking about a specific type of gun. 9mm go bang.
Bang.
So the album drops, 87, I think. But, you know, he had released a couple of singles already. South Bronx had already happened. By the time the album drops, the name of the album is Criminal Minded.
Right.
And at the time, for people outside of New York, you know, it's like, wow, this dude is hardcore.
And he was lyrical.
Dangerous, lyrical, but it was, you know, it was edgy and it sounded violent. There was some extreme violence. So this is before I heard NWA, before I heard any of these gangster rappers that you're talking about, I heard KRS-One giving a nod to the violence of the streets. And he wasn't just reporting on it. He was speaking as an active participant. So, and then you had this guy, Schoolie D, in Philly.
I want to remind you of something. Because when we watched Wild Style, the twins.
You know what? But now the twins in Wild Style are, they did the stoop rap. Double Trouble. Yeah, I was trying to think. They came out with violent imagery too, which let you know that even though you weren't hearing this stuff on wax, the live performances incorporated the violence of the streets.
Yes.
And that was no mistake. They didn't just do that for Wild Style. This is something that was going on. So I'm not, we're not saying that gangster rap or hardcore rap wasn't happening.
Right.
But it being on wax available to buy wasn't always happening, especially on a national level. And KRS-One, Criminal Minded was national. Schoolie D went national. And, that goes, like I said, by 86, 87, the word is out. So now you got South Bronx, KRS-One doing it, Schoolie D in Philly doing it, NWA is doing it, Ice-T is doing it.
Right.
Too Short was explicit, not necessarily crazy violent, but crazy explicit on a sexual side.
Hotels.
Right. The Ghetto Boys down in Houston.
Yes.
The original Ghetto Boys.
Right.
And then you get back to Florida. Full circle, Luke Skywalker. So the whole country, in every part of the country, you got somebody talking that serious street talk that you're not used to hearing. And these songs, all these people put out classics back in the day.
Right.
But you don't know a lot of these records because they were never intended for radio.
Right. And
even to this day,
you still gotta look for it.
You gotta look for it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, when you hear the 2 Live Crew, Me So Horny, but you had to be there to know We Want Some Pussy. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And the things that Brother Marquise and the boys would say on the records, man, was, it was some pretty hardcore stuff. You go listen to, you listen to NWA. Even like some of the early stuff was tame in comparison to what you hear today, but at the time, you hadn't heard anybody spit it quite like that. Fuck the police.
It's crazy that we look at it as I hate to use the word wrong, but I'll say different, because the music that comes from the people, which are our people, black people, people of color who started hip hop, and there are certain elements that make up that community from which the music came from,
right?
And drugs, poverty, sex, and violence, and it's like everything is it is and has taken its course, because like we're talking about the ones in the beginning now who made the music that is shunned upon now by certain people.
But it was shunned back then. Like people, like back then there was a huge backlash towards NWA and Luke Skywalker and Ice-T did 6 in the Morning single. Just Ice used to have extremely dirty lyrics, but he was more of a, he was doing a whole lot of cussing, but I can't say that he didn't strike me quite as violent as KRS on his joints.
Okay.
But by all accounts, Just Ice was nothing to mess with out here in these streets.
And that so KRS-One didn't have the explicit sticker on his album.
The explicit sticker didn't show up until around 1990, maybe.
Right.
The parental advisory.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was after, it was kind of like the compromise. But the major labels would not. So, okay, we talk about how you saw Double Trouble and Wild Style come out with the guns. So we know that hip hop was doing this. The labels were not supporting it, though.
Right.
Major labels want nothing to do with that type of language, that type of violence, and all of that. They were straying away from that. So the independent labels like, we'll put it out. So Ice-T dropped 6 in the morning. It's not a radio hit. None of these songs were radio hits back then because hip-hop wasn't a staple on the radio like it is today.
Absolutely.
You get lucky, catch it on a mix show. Like Two Live Crew did make clean versions back in the day. But
I wonder if that same energy was given to that music. And
we mean back then
yeah, because I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it. So, okay, so if you are looking at, I guess, societal views of a race of people who are just coming off of the civil rights movement and having freedom of speech and stuff like that and being able to put out music.
Right.
Would you, as the other folks, you don't want nothing that's going to possibly anger these people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, hell no, I ain't putting that shit out. It might make somebody else angry.
well, we know NWA found a home for it.
Yes, sir.
And they found national distribution. And national distribution for that.
Because Jerry owned the pressing agency, right?
I'm not sure what all, I don't know all of Jerry Heller's full,
I think that's how the relationship started. They were going to him, getting their music pressed up. And because of, now I'm probably speaking behind the movie because I don't remember reading this, but because of how much they were getting pressed up, that's what caught his attention. Like, and these dudes just straight dropping cash off to get this music pressed up.
Right.
And then he just, did what they do.
Yeah. But when we look at everything that's going on today, I think there was a person who was like the originator for each style of everything we hear. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
like
absolutely.
without Blowfly, there's no Luke.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Without Lil Kim, I argue there's no Sexy Red.
You think?
Right. Without it goes on and on. We can, there's always somebody that laid the foundation, and they weren't originally, like, when these rappers came out like this, like Ice-T and Too Short and all, it wasn't like everybody was doing it.
No.
And experiencing the same kind of success they were experiencing.
Right.
You still had all kinds of music in the genre. Mm-hmm. Things got to this point, like, it was the blink of an eye, really. You didn't see it happen, it just happened. To where everything was explicit.
Right.
And I think that happened when the record labels, the major labels saw that they could do it. Like, in the beginning they were scared to do it. And then the independent labels did it and they did fine with it. They made money.
Right.
So like, I think we can get away with a little bit of this. So then they started experimenting. They would have their major artists who they kept kind of clean. Then they would grab, somebody a little street, a little edgy, test the waters, and those people start blowing up like Boss, and folks like that. It's like, you know what? We can make money with this too. Right. So the major labels got in the game, and I think they started seeing the writing on the wall.
And what's crazy? So we talking about this, and just thinking about the north side of things, we got to give credit to how you say it?
Akinyele is another one.
Yeah, man, like because
even when as explicit as the music had gotten, man, nobody had addressed one particular topic.
Right.
And he addressed oral sex, and he addressed it on a hit record.
What out of this world?
Hit record. And that's the first time I saw something that explicit get airplay.
Put it in your mouth.
Yeah, that was, I know we played it on jams a lot.
Oh yeah,
You know?
Jams played the original version.
Everywhere
else in the
it had the
country
curse
played-
words out. You know.
Nah, what ass?
There was a whole lot of in there. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole lot of.
But she definitely said, "Put it in my mouth," on Jams.
Yeah, she said put it in my mouth.
I know.
Yeah. But she didn't say my mother effing mouth. She said
No.
my mother's mouth.
It was close enough. It was close enough.
But they did leave the part and say you can lick it, you can suck it, you
See?
can taste it.
I already know. I didn't hear that until I went to Greensboro.
You know what I'm saying? I'm talking every
was
drip,
like, what?
drop. Don't you waste it.
She said, "Drip drop."
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
he did that.
Yeah, which opened the door for all these other people. You know what I'm
Man,
saying?
did
it. And today, you know,
It's like-
this is what it is.
You know the nastiest thing I heard recently,
But these are your pioneers right here.
and this track is probably like 5 or 7 years old. Lil Durk and Nicki Minaj, I forget the name of the track, and he say spit it, I'm spit in your mouth.
Ugh. I do not make that a trend. Now I can yell it, brought blowjobs to the hood at a level
Everybody
of president, but I don't
yeah.
I don't want to see a trend about get people spitting each other's mouths. You
Shout
know,
out,
Kevin Gates,
yeah.
nasty self.
Shout out Nelly.
Oh, there's another one. The Showboys. It's still around 86, 87. Showboys up there in New York did drag rap on Profile Records, Run DMC record label back in the day. Same record label as Run DMC. Run DMC, clean. They don't do that. But you start to see the major labels like, hey, let's see what's happening with these Showboys. And shoot, I think that's the one that he said, throw the baby out the window. What about the baby? Throw him out the window. I was like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like you listen to some early Ghetto Boys stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like Willie D talking about robbing his old school teacher. He beat her with a pistol. She offered to give him A's and B's if he stops. You know what I'm saying? Like, forget that.
Really always been out there.
Yeah, like this is, you know, extremely far left or far right, wherever, you know, everybody else going straight. These dudes took it there in a way like, what?
Yeah.
You know, it's the same shock value as NWA saying F the police.
Right.
You know, it's like, what? Did they just say that?
Yeah.
There was a skit on NWA's on, I think it was a Niggas for Life album. Where they shot the prostitute in the car because she
nicked his head.
She nicked his head, right. Like, you know, that's just right. That's just you know, like straight up uncalled for. So so I'm just letting you know, as bad as you think things are now, they haven't. This is nothing. It's not new.
No,
it's not new at all.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing going on today in music.
Right.
That was not already going on by 1988.
Absolutely.
Not one. There's nothing that anybody said in a song today. As much as people drop their mouth like, oh my God, did she just say Pound Town? Take me to Pound Town.
You know what?
No, that's nothing. Like, listen to Big Mama Thing by Lil' Kim.
Yeah.
Just as bad.
Might be worse.
Might be worse.
Because of the time.
But hey, but the lyric, the content is exactly the same. Exactly the same. Junior Mafia had a song, another one they played on jams. If you ain't sucking no, we don't want it. We don't need it. If you ain't licking no butts.
Yes. The groceries.
So they were talking about licking butts back in 1997, 98.
Right.
And here we are almost 30 years later. And everybody's like, oh my God, never heard nothing like this before. But that in general, it wasn't on the radio all day.
And just because you have gotten older and now you want to get closer to God, don't make something else wrong. You went through it. You listened to it.
Oh, now I ain't gonna sit here and condone it. That's wrong. You know what I'm saying? It was wrong when I was enjoying it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, there's simply
listen.
Right and wrong still exists.
Listen.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Not only did you listen, you
listen,
played it.
I banged it out every time I went to the club.
See?
Bam, Bam, you got it going on. Bam, yeah. I played Big Mama thing everywhere I went.
Absolutely.
I played Put It in Your Mouth every night. I used to be scared of the. Now I throw lips to it. Handle it like a real. Heather Hunter, Janet Jackman just shouted out 2 porn stars. Take it in the butt. Yeah. So yeah, none of this is new, but the way that you can consume it is what's new. Back then, if you wanted to hear that, with the exception of a handful of stations that would go there,
right,
even playing the clean version, you wouldn't hear this stuff on the radio. You had to buy it. You had to actually buy it. And your kids couldn't hear it. There was no YouTube. You couldn't just pull it up.
Right.
And if you saw videos, the videos had to be clean.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
It wouldn't even show an image of a gun on MTV.
Right.
If you had a gun in your video, first they either were not going to show the video or you had to blur the image out
and have
in
your
the
body
video.
on.
Right. So, so there were, you had stuff in place to keep this in a certain lane.
Right.
So the real difference is not that the content was unavailable back in the day. It was always available. The difference is how easy it is for everybody to consume, including children.
Yes.
This wasn't made for kids.
Right.
And today, there's no firewall.
Nothing.
To stop a kid from just, and in videos, since the MTV and BET, they're not video channels anymore like they used to be.
Yeah.
So now you make the video, you put whatever you want in the video.
Yes.
And you put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it just plays as is. There's no, you don't have to put the clean version in the video anymore. And, maybe, I think that maybe it would probably be a good idea since YouTube is available for everybody. Maybe it wouldn't be a bad thing to have a clean version available.
Right.
Absolutely. Like 50 puts clean versions of his joints out on YouTube.
I'll tell you, man, if you Google something, YouTube something from 50, 9 times out of 10, the clean version is going to come up before the explicit.
Right. And at the end of the day, this is what I found. People don't really care.
No, they don't.
As
long as
every now and then I have somebody, man, why you play the clean version?
Yeah.
You know the words.
Right.
You're singing along anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yep. I played a middle school party last weekend. And I'm trying to remember what I played one song. Well, it was a clean version. But I noticed that the kids were singing the vocals to the dirty version loud. I could hear them all shouting. I was like, oh my God, I got to take this off. You know what I'm saying? I can't let this ride like this.
Nobody said anything,
Nobody said anything. I don't think the adults in the room knew what was going on.
They didn't even pay attention.
I did. I changed the record.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I can't do that. Even when I dropped Sheck West, Mo Bamba, I got calling. I got the clean version.
You suck.
What for a middle school party?
What he said.
But there's one part where he goes, all the music stops. He goes, oh shit, and he's and I in the clean version those words ain't there. When that part comes on, every kid in there is like, oh,
right.
I was like, oh no, don't do that, little children. You know what I'm saying?
You hate.
Hey, I ain't hating. I'm trying to keep right on working at this middle school. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They requested a bunch of Sexy Red stuff. I was like, even a clean version, I can't play that. I can't play a clean version.
The middle school kids asked for the sexy.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
That was one of the places.
I know what it was. I was thinking the clean version. I thought maybe I could get away with a clean version of Rich Baby Daddy.
But my baby dad.
No. Bend that, and I forgot about the hook. I forgot about the bend that ass over. So of course, you're saying bend it on over.
Yeah.
in the clean version and let that breathe. But the kids just like, bend that ass over, let that coochie breathe. I'm like, oh no, this wasn't what I thought was going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just looking around like, oh man, they singing all the dirty.
Did anybody look at you?
Nah.
No, they weren't paying attention.
Nah, they weren't paying attention.
Because in their head, they singing it too. whether you play the clean
but
or
you know
not.
what? The adults probably have only heard the clean version. They hear it on the radio. The adults in that room, if they're familiar with that song, they heard it on the radio.
A top 40 station. They ain't heard it on the urban
and
station.
it was clean. But even on urban station, they're not playing the dirty version. You know what I'm saying? Clean version is pretty much the same for all radio formats.
I can't remember what they play on the radio station here. If they play that one,
yeah, but nobody's gonna play the dirty version. Like
they might bleep out the.
You know why you know it?
Very.
Your mind fills in the blanks. When a word is not there and you're familiar with the slang that we use, your mind fills in the blanks, even if you never heard the word. If I say,
I'm glad you said
if
that.
I say in a song, a clean version of my own song, first time you ever heard it, I say, I told that to kiss my, you know exactly, your mind.
But in my mind, that's not a clean version.
But that's what makes it clean. All you gotta do is take the curse words out for it to qualify as
easy.
a clean version.
But like we talked about Old Dirty.
Old Dirty. That's what I was gonna say. Old Dirty would have just
changed
everything. Like, and that's when I told the girl to leave me alone.
That's not a clean version. You're just bleeping out the hard.
Right.
Nowadays, the more major stations, they do bleep out that hard word. But you can turn on the TV and they'll say the hard word.
Well, on the TV, TV has gotten a little bit explicit now too.
Now, do you think TV impacted music or music impacted TV as far as letting certain things go?
Well, I think cable television impacted TV. Cable when CBS, ABC, NBC, Fox, UHF, they had rules
because they weren't broadcast locally.
Right, but they, FCC had rules.
Right.
For cable television, it was a different set of rules. You had to pay for cable television. So when you pay, you're opting in.
Those are premium
to the full right.
Now you pay for BET, and BET will still call somebody a son of a bitch.
But you pay for that. You see what I'm saying? The free channels.
Yeah, it's a part of the
right. Free channels, just like radio.
Right.
It's protected under the FCC because it's free and it's available for everybody. Once you pay for it, you consume. Once you buy something, you can buy what you want to buy.
I thought I heard.
But if it's free and the FCC is involved, then they have things that they're not going to allow you to say.
ABC, I'm almost positive I heard somebody call somebody a bitch on one of those shows.
But bitch isn't really, bitch isn't a word that's outlawed. It's up to whoever's in charge whether they'll let bitch go. I want you to think about back in the late 70s, early 80s when the Jeffersons and Archie Bunker were on. Mm-hmm. How many times did George Jefferson say "nigga, please"?
Or cracker this or cracker
right.
Just like
you could, because it's not one of the words that you're not allowed to say.
Right.
What the hell? Damn, you can say that, bitch. You can get away with that. It's up to the discretion of whoever is over that channel. But the FCC does not. It's the F word, the S word. It's the bigger ones. MFer. Those are the ones. You could even get away with. I think goddamn was.
I mean, you can say goddamn anytime.
Yeah.
They and I'm surprised.
But it's just a version of damn.
I'm just surprised on this whole Christian culture. This.
Well, like I said, it's up to the discretion, and a lot of people didn't let that slide. You didn't hear it a lot.
But now don't nobody care.
But if you did, I don't think you would face any fines for it. It's just that you just wouldn't do it because society ain't trying to hear that. Wasn't trying to hear that back in the day.
Right.
But but I think cable television, and now almost when you think about how many channels there are,
man, count
that high. Then of course they can get away with things.
Right.
and everybody took notes from HBO.
Absolutely.
You know, when HBO started creating their own content,
Yes, sir.
it changed the game.
Like, where the hell they get the idea from?
Right. You know, The Wire and, well, it's not the first one. You know, they've been making shows. Like, it had a TV show back in the day, North Dallas 40, I think it was.
Okay.
About the football team.
Even HBO boxing and HBO sports.
It was a show on HBO back in the day about a football team. It was kind of like the Dallas Cowboys. And it was, you know, it's pretty explicit.
Hey, don't just run past the Dallas Cowboys like that. Take a breath out these.
Well, it wasn't the actual Dallas Cowboys, but you could tell they were based on the Dallas Cowboys.
Just take a breath out these. Hey, pay some respect.
Hey, there's no homage here. but yeah, all this stuff had its roots back in the day, and when people who listen to today's music hear older people complain, I think what's lost is that those older people also listen to explicit, dirty stuff too.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, it was always there. Just the availability is what's different. You know, it's a different level of availability. You had to go out of your way to get your hands on something that nasty, and it's easy, so easy now.
Right.
So easy on television. Like, you had to go out of your way. Even when you got cable TV back in the day, you didn't get 200 channels back in the day. You got 30 channels.
Right.
I remember early cable, you didn't
16.
even, I'm talking about, you didn't even have that little box. You remember when they started giving you the box so you could get more channels?
Right.
Back in the early days of cable, you would plug that cable into the back of your TV and you just turned the dial.
And every
number and now everything had a channel on it.
Absolutely.
And that's, you know, and only one of those channels would play curse words.
Right. I remember the box. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Was that the box that had the A and B switch, or was that another box?
Well, the first box I saw was a cord. You know, it had that long cord attached to it, and you had like
20 flicker.
You had 22 channels, and if you wanted to get to the next row, you flick down,
right?
Flick the little thing on the side, and then you get 22 more channels.
So on the one I remember, it had an A and a B.
Right.
Believe it or not, we had illegal cable.
When you get legal, you're not getting the box.
I swear
you just turning the channel still.
Yeah. I swear we had illegal cable when I was growing up.
Hey, we knew somebody worked in cable company.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean?
For real.
I don't,
we will find a way, won't we?
Yeah. Shoot, there was a dude back in Greensboro. We used to call him Cablevision.
Man, when I learned how to do it, all you gotta do is go to the box and twist the joint back together.
Yeah. Every now and then they'll show up and be hooking somebody. Every time somebody new moved in my apartment complex, my free cable get cut off.
Yeah.
And then I had to hit up a man. Like, yo, man, they cut me off. All right, I'll be over there. You just have my money ready.
You talking about Greensboro? I knew a cable guy who went up the pole to turn your cable back on.
Oh, nah, this was a box behind the apartment. He would go hit up.
Nah, they was cutting the one going to the line, and he would go up the pole to turn your jump back on.
Wow.
Only in Greensboro. For real. Only in Greensboro.
That's good stuff.
Yes.
Saved us a lot of money back in the day.
Yes, sir. Remember Windstream in Greensboro? The internet with a little box. It was like satellite internet.
Nah, I missed that.
I knew a lot of IT guys in Greensboro. That's why.
But when I first started working from home back in 2000, that was my first time having internet at the house, and they had to put a 64K line in my house to do the job.
Damn. The company paid for that.
Mm-hmm. Damn. But I had to get that installed to be able to work remote.
Right.
Back then. And then it came to a point where you could just do it on regular internet. It's no problem. But back to the subject at hand, all of this that you hear now, you could trace it all back to somebody back in the day.
Right.
And there's nothing new under the sun. So instead of pointing the finger, here goes my controversial statement of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Do not point the finger at Sexy Red and name a violent rapper. Anybody who's got violent content today. Anybody.
Him.
Anybody. 21 Savage.
Okay.
Don't point the finger at 21 Savage.
Red Rum.
Without pointing the finger at KRS. Is that controversial?
Yes, that's controversial.
It is, but I'm just saying.
The only reason it's controversial is because we didn't mention, because we mentioned Sexy Red.
You mean the change that he went through and he woke up?
No. Not even that part. I'm just talking about the connection of how that music gets to the people. That's the only part that we didn't talk about, how the music actually gets. Like we talked about, I can't remember if that was before or after when we talked about the distribution. Like you can make it.
Well, KRS, when he put out, back to the independent label, Criminal Mind was on B-Boy Records. Edutainment was on Jive. And when he got the Jive, he wasn't talking that same talk that he was talking on the independent label.
Right. That's dope. They had conscience back then.
Yeah, but you can tell by the time the second BDP album came out. I think that another result that we see of these rappers talking this gangster talk, you see the lifestyle catching up with them and they getting killed and stuff. And I think KRS woke up because he talked that same talk.
And his homeboy.
And his DJ,
right,
beat maker and friend and mentor was shot.
Right.
On some old street beef. And he woke up. And he hasn't spoken highly about the criminal lifestyle since. Everything since then has been like, yo, this is the guy that brought us to Stop the Violence movement. The same guy that made 9mm.
Yes.
2-3 years later, Stop the Violence. And that speaks volumes. And I think he himself, in a way, was acknowledging his role. Like, yo, I'm doing something. I did something that I don't think could be that good for the community.
Yeah, and that was like a plea to the people. And now I'm just thinking about this now. So they did the same Stop the Violence on both coasts from the same people.
Yeah, the West Coast All-Stars did their joint.
Yeah, and it was almost...
We're All in the Same Gang was the name of theirs.
The makeup of the same people who made that kind of music, hood music.
It had NWA, he was in there. And,
right.
Yep.
And then they were coming to plead to the community like, hey, like we doing this, but this is really happening. I hope y'all know this really happening.
Right.
Now it's just like...
And don't forget, they also, artists took a stand against hard drugs on their records back in the day too.
Yeah.
Even drinking, like EPMD had a song, You Overdid It, Holmes. You had too much to drink. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like, there was, outside of everything else, they had one song. Even KRS, Jim Browski, Jimmy. Jimmy, run get your Jimmy hats.
Even a country song, and this is one of my favorite tracks. It's so gangster and conscious at the same time. By KRS-One, Love's Gonna Get You.
Yes, and that's a good example of his growth. Rather than speaking as a participant, he spoke as an observer. And Love's Gonna Get You.
He was both.
Yeah. He was. Yeah. That's true.
He gave the observer.
But
What Jay-Z say? Hov went through it, so
I know
he
what it
wasn't
is,
supposed to go
without
through that.
glorifying it.
Yes.
He did not glorify it.
He made it the worst. He
And-
told you the truth.
Right. And
know,
on Criminal
yeah.
Minded, there was a little bit of glorification there. By the time Love's Gonna Get You is out, it's not glorifying anymore. It's like I've seen the dark side of this, and I don't like it. I don't think you need to like it.
Right.
He didn't want you to see this in a positive light.
Right.
And yeah, so you know,
it
like
got
that's why I say it's controversial to look
Yeah.
back on KRS-One as having any hand in this, because he's done so much since to try to put the fire out.
And we ain't talking about a coat drive or a turkey drive.
No, he
Giving away
got people
shoes.
together. It's like, yo, man, you know, like KRS is really, you know, he's really about that life. Like, stop the violence for real.
He changed it for real.
He changed it for real.
Music and everything.
Right.
Yeah, I say that because you know, that recently an artist came out and called out some of the older artists and for some level of accountability. And that was one of the first things they said. Well, I give away this amount of shoes for Christmas. I mean, for start of school every year. Well, what you giving those shoes to walk to school and listen to you talk about?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
He actually changed it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right. But he's probably the only one.
man, I can't name another one.
Like, you know, Too Short didn't turn around.
Well, Too Short always had that message in his music.
But you know, I don't put Too Short quite in the same category. He was spitting the gangster stuff, and it was for gangsters,
Right.
but Too Short didn't have that same
Violent.
He didn't feel it. It just didn't feel the same. He didn't like.
Right.
You listen to Too Short album, no matter what he's talking about, and then you listen to NWA. Who you want to sit in the room with?
Do I got my girl with me, or it's just me?
I mean, well, you got your family. You got your family with you. Do you feel safer taking your family around NWA or Too Short? You gonna take them around Too Short?
I don't know, because he might take my bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, NWA might take her too, and she better not nick the head. You'll never see her again. You know what I'm saying? It took at least Too Short to give it back to you.
Right. Good point.
You know what I'm saying? So
He said at least he'll give it back.
yeah, but
I ain't think about it.
I will say, I think that another one who woke up a little bit was Scarface.
Oh, absolutely.
Scarface made a similar turn like KRS.
Yeah.
Luke, I can't say that Luke
Ever.
You know, when you look throughout his career, like especially when you think about the age people are when they make their first records, late teens, early 20s, mid 20s. You know,
Yeah. Nah.
as they grow up, you see people. You know, you saw
Luke
KRS
still want him
grow
right
up.
now.
Luke,
Pop that pussy.
right, right.
At 60.
Luke still about it. He was still about it till the last record.
Absolutely.
You know, Dr. Dre never stopped putting out artists that were edgy and violent. You know, he didn't.
Never.
Yeah, he didn't change anything. Easy.
If he could find one right now.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't, I didn't see any particular growth out of the rest of the cats. You did see a little bit of change in Ice Cube when he went solo.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know, he was somewhat conscious, but a militant type of consciousness.
Right. The essence of California hip hop, I think.
Yeah. Ice Cube, and that also was partially influenced by the Public Enemy crew. You know, his production team was Public Enemy's production team.
Right.
And he's around a different type of thinking.
Absolutely.
But the moment he wasn't around him anymore, it was right back to gangster life.
Right.
And talking about gangster stuff. But, even Ice Cube is tame in comparison to some of these folks as he got older.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But yeah, is there some accountability with the old school artists? There's and I can't, a lot of people associate Puff Daddy with Lil Kim, but Lil Kim was never signed to Bad Boy.
No.
He's not responsible for Lil Kim.
Yeah. Oh, Biggie was.
And Puff was responsible for Biggie.
Yes. Yeah.
And Biggie's content was pretty dark at times.
Absolutely.
And he definitely glorified the life. He
10
made
times over.
He made killing you sound so cool.
Yep. Nobody till somebody kills you.
Right.
Like, damn, I can't wait for somebody to kill me.
Right. Right. Tupac.
Yes.
Like this somebody now. Tupac is the one that we watched go from conscious to unconscious.
Everything. Right. That's crazy.
And so, and all these people we talking about, this is pre-2000.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the year 2024 right now.
Right.
So is there some accountability? Like the people who really started this are those people we name. They popularized the explicit lyrics, the violence, the sexuality, extreme sexuality, shock value. All those people that we named are your grandfathers and grandmothers of this.
Right. Yeah. It's just crazy, like how else other than the way that it has been communicated or the way it's being communicated now, how do you talk about it? Because hip hop in its foundation is almost like a diary of what's going, or a journal of what's going on. And because it's so extreme now, it's because of the times that we're in. And yeah, it's more out there now because of technology. More people have access to it. But on the spectrum of sex, we have slowly been moving all the way to the red. And now we operating at a high red. And I'm like can you fault, because all of us have to take some level of accountability for it, whether it's the artist or the consumer, because the artist, you made the way for it to go as far as it is now. As a consumer, you made it go as far as it is now, because at some point you had to have consumed some level of it for it to get to the red now. And that's why I made the statement earlier, made a joke, and said just because you've gotten older and you done found God, don't shun it. And I think all of it should be embraced.
Somebody, you need the people who shun it. Like, you reach this age for a reason, and that's so that you have been through it all. Mm-hmm. And if you got rid of all the OGs who try to tell you about the errors of this lifestyle, then things would be 10 times worse. Because even though you feel like, hey, nobody's paying attention when you try to warn them about somebody, they hear you. They hear you. And it could actually be worse. And one day they'll get older and they'll remember what you said when they reach that age, and they'll see their own kids. But the other part of this cycle is it always starts with one or two things to groom you to look the other way. So as shocking as it was back in the day with, Luke Skywalker's music, we went through that so you could look the other way when Megan Thee Stallion is saying whatever she's saying. Because now you're conditioned to not be bothered by it. So we've been groomed over time to get to a point where we don't care.
Right. Yeah.
But then you get older and you see, and you don't care for yourself. But when you see your kids latching on to it, it's when you care. You start to care a little bit. But when it's you and you're not worried about and you don't have kids and you're out here partying, you don't care about what people say in these songs.
Right.
And as somebody who's been through, the crack era and all that and seen how things have been, as much as I complain about the content being all over the place and kids being exposed, they're jaded. They've been bombarded with this so much that it's not even the big wow factor Like,
for them.
For them.
It's more
like,
for
so,
you than
right.
them.
We're the ones sitting over here with our mouths open like,
see, that's
I can't believe that.
That's the point I was going to make, because
it means nothing to them.
Yeah, if you were exposed to it and you feel like you came out all right, then why overreact when your kids or whatever?
Because you know you didn't come out all right. Some of y'all still dealing with.
I mean, yeah, but that's a part of living.
That's the part nobody wants to talk about.
Yes,
nobody wants to talk about and I'm not gonna say the girl. I'm gonna say the girls out there who, okay, somebody got a fever blister in their mouth. Listen, I can yell it. Had to walk around for 2 weeks with herpes all over their lip.
And now she 46 and still
got herpes every so often. And she just got caught out there. You know, she just got wrapped up. Everybody was talking about put it in your mouth. It seemed like the thing to do. And you know what I'm saying? And now she looking back on it like, you know what I'm saying?
And stop calling them cold sores. There ain't no clear cold sores.
But
it's calling it what it is.
Yeah, this is the nature of wisdom. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's somebody out there. Like, I remember being out in front of the club in Tarboro, in front of the Elks Club. And the police used to roll up when it was time for everybody to disperse and everybody leave quietly. Mm-hmm. NWA came out, F the police. Mm-hmm. Everybody sitting out in the parking lot drinking 40s. That song playing. The police pull up. All of a sudden, dudes who used to leave quietly.
Mm-hmm. Oh, now they got something to say.
Now they got balls.
Yeah, you got something to say.
And now they throwing bottles at the police.
They got malt liquor.
They didn't do that before.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So right. The impact.
That's what I said. You don't want to
make these people impact angry. Back then. The impact back then was you saw it immediately.
Right.
But that's because we saw a change happen, an active change right then.
Right.
These kids grew up on this. There is no change. It's already normalized.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have the same, it doesn't have the same impact.
So I think that people put their fears on their kids. And I'm guilty of this because I know what 90s hip hop did for me as far as teaching me how to be.
Right, but you had a lot more life lessons back in the day too. Like,
yes,
you listen to a whole album, even somebody who had gangster music during the course of the whole entire album.
Right,
you learn something, something not to do. What kind of girls were bad for you?
Right,
how to approach women even.
Yeah. Situations, somebody trying to play you.
Right, there was a wide scope.
Right.
So you learn a lot through the music, things that you hadn't encountered yet. And that's what's scary for an adult because you know how you were taught through the music.
Right.
And you worried that, okay, well, if I learned this
through the music,
the
same music,
then I don't want this music programming my kids.
Right. Right.
And that's where the fear comes in.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you look at them, you're like, you know what? I don't think musicians, of course, they are extremely influential. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying they're not. They still have huge power and influence over the people that listen.
Yes.
But society is not the mess that it was in the 90s. And it's bad in different ways. Mm-hmm. 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 Like we're sitting here worried about Sexy Red turning your girl into a whore, but what you're missing
is your girl was already a whore. Don't blame Sexy.
No. What you're missing is the sexuality part is the part that's always been there.
Right.
The new thing that you really need to watch out for is the hard drugs. That they're talking about. That's the thing that wasn't always there. Mm-hmm. None of these people that I talked about sitting around doing heroin.
Right. Because that's basically what it is.
Right.
Yeah, I mean.
So we're missing.
Yeah.
We're missing the real danger.
Yes.
Because the new thing is the thing we don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
Not the stuff that we know about.
Right.
As bad as the sexuality is in lyrics, kids are not having sex at the rate that they used to have. They wait longer to lose their virginity.
Right.
There are less teenage pregnancies.
Less promiscuous.
STDs are coming back because one other new thing is non-condom usage.
Yes.
That's no matter what people are talking about, they talk about putting on a condom before you mess with a nasty girl.
Right.
Now, the nastiest girl in the world, they still want to hit it raw.
Yeah.
And that's new. That's the new thing that you have to protect your kids from, the thing that you didn't already know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we already know about guns.
Right.
We already know about sex. We already know about, but we didn't know about meth and lean,
right,
and all of this. So
I don't call those drugs. That's that new shit.
Right. Right. And that's what's being peddled.
Right.
That's the brand new thing inside of the box. Mm-hmm. The shiny new toy.
Because they push it over.
Yeah.
Because
condoms and heroin.
And the truth be told, our counterparts, I guess you can call them our counterparts, research shows they are more promiscuous than we are.
Who?
Caucasians.
Oh.
You know, and the only reason I'm bringing that up is because, you know, like throughout hip hop and stuff like that, it just makes it seem like certain things are associated with a certain people.
Yeah, because it's so visual.
Yeah,
but you know,
even the drugs, like designer drugs, like you look at the movie
Ecstasy and Molly and stuff. But you know what? That thing has crept into our community.
It was always gonna be there. What's the movie I'm thinking about, man? With Lawrence Fishburne, Deep Cover.
Okay,
designer drugs. They was talking about ecstasy in that. That was in the hood. They was pumping that instead of crack. You know what I'm saying? That's the crazy part. Like, it's always been around, but for it to be the subject of everything right now is crazy. And one of the biggest artists who promote this stuff right now don't even do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's really sad.
Yeah, don't even do it. One of the biggest crime bosses in music right now wasn't even a crime boss.
He was a correctional officer. He looking over the inmates.
But you sit here talking about old buddy who don't write his own rhymes, but you didn't live your own life.
Right.
like what's it? Is all a fraud.
It's all a fraud.
Damn.
It's all a fraud. So, you know, we're all about conversation starters. This is the point right here where you take this, and run, get in a fight with whoever's sitting with you right now because you think one way and they think the other way. You know what I'm saying? But you know, hey, what's going on now has always been going on, except, you know, we got a few new elements added into it.
Yes, sir.
But all the rest of this stuff that leaves your jaw on the floor, it was there in the mid '80s.
Yeah. And isn't R&B the what's the word I'm looking for? The explicit version of gospel?
Nah.
God.
Nah, you could, you know, back now gospel. Yeah, there were artists who used gospel elements in their music. But R&B, you know, for the most part, it's more of a recent thing that R&B got that explicit. But back in the day,
compared to straight and narrow gospel, and you talk
compared
about
to
loving
gospel, right. When you think about, come on, go with me, come on over to my place. That didn't sound anything like any gospel song.
No,
but then you listen to some Parliament Funkadelic, and you could hear the real gospel influence in the songs. You know what I'm saying? Like you hear choir type sounds, and you're like, wait a minute, this don't feel right. I'm in the club dancing, but this is gospel sounding. You know, so there were elements in there, but even that stuff wasn't that far gone back in the day.
Can I try to drop a gem though to close this out?
Yeah, drop a gem.
Okay, so
Polo D.
They say that we don't read, but we communicate with each other through music. Since the beginning of time, we've communicated with each other through music. If you can find a way to put the message in the bullshit to communicate with us, because nobody's paying attention. The only thing people are paying attention to is anything that's entertaining. If you can find a way to put the message in the music,
If you can make it entertaining, people will learn.
that's
Like,
the task.
you know, kids learn the ABCs through a song.
Yes. Shout out to
End of
News
story.
TV. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A,
Right.
B, C, D, E, F, G. Same beat as Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star.
That's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say a minute ago when we were talking about kids. Basically, because there is no change for the kids. I'll give you something personal. My son, Dax, 3 years old. Dax is still learning this language that we call English.
Right.
But if you and I are having a conversation, he could not know anything that we're talking about. But if it's a curse word in it, he can point it out.
Because that's the word he doesn't hear all the time. So, that's, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up, because that is why you have to worry about the new thing that's injected, not the thing that's always been there. The language that you've always heard has always been sex, violence, guns. We heard that for years. The new thing is, what? Don't use a condom. I never heard that before.
Mm-hmm.
Who has ever instructed anybody to not use a condom? You see what I'm saying? So that's new. It's the shiny new object inside the box to look out for. They've been talking about smoking weed forever. Like, Cypress Hill was talking about smoking weed a long time ago. Dr. Dre, The Chronic, like, that's been there. So what? It's nothing new. So they don't hone in on the thing that's always been there. They hone in on the thing that hasn't always been there.
Mm-hmm.
Lean, what's that? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And look at how many artists have gotten hooked on drugs, and that's the other thing. They quietly get hooked on this. I call it all heroin, but you know, oxy, fentanyl, all that stuff is in the heroin family. So I'm referring to that line, opioids, right. And that's the new thing that you really need to be paying attention to, because that's the thing that's been injected recently for this generation.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff that we're used to hearing, that's our stuff. That's nothing new to them.
Right.
You know, my mama listened to Lil' Kim when I was growing up. We know about all that.
Mm-hmm.
Look, you know, it's the raw dog and then the hard drugs that they didn't hear about in our music. That's theirs. And so that's what we're missing.
Right.
So pay attention. You know what I mean?
Message.
Message. So we out here. That's the history of explicit lyrics. And then nothing's going to change anytime soon. It's Capital City Podcast. I'm your host, Capital J, alongside my main man,
DL Glass.
a.k.a. Polo D.